Good morning and a happy Africa Freedom Day. I hope you are enjoying your day and reflecting on this important occasion where we reflect on self-governance as African countries across the continent, and Zambia is no exception. A number of activities have been lined up to mark this day, and the president will be actually laying leaves at the Freedom Statue in honor of fallen heroes. And we are going to be covering some of those proceedings later in the day to just also engage the freedom fighters on how they reflect on this important day. And as usual, we say the Wednesday and Thursday edition of the Camnet Breakfast are focused on policy, governance, everything politics. And we'll be talking just that. You too can give us your perspective regarding how you are reflecting on Africa Freedom Day. Have we achieved self-governance entirely in terms of financial independence as a country? We can get your perspective on the number that is on your screens. We can get interacting, or equally on our Facebook platform. You can share your views with us in the studio. We get the conversation going on Africa Freedom Day. Just now, we are going to go straight into our first segment, Morning Booster with Isaac Machisa. Stay tuned.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Boost. I'm sure you've been following our programs and not just watching but also trying to exercise. So welcome, and today we're going to be working on the abs. All right, let's go. Warm up. Let's go. Same jumping jacks. Instead of going all the way up, this time here we go. That's your warm-up today. Go. All right. So that's a 1 minute warm up. Let's do some abs workout now. Okay. As you can see, I came with a bottle of water. We're going to do some Russian twists. There you go. Get a bottle, put it down there. If you have a dumbbell, good for you. I'm going to sit here, working on the abs. Lean back a bit. There you go. 1. 7. 10. Okay. Go to the second one. We're going to come back to this one. Here we go. Lie down. That was 10. I'm going to do another 10. Let's go. That's 10. Bring back the bottle. Let's go 10. Eight and 9, 10. Go down. Let's go 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's the set, which is 40. If you want after that, you can take a break. Let's do another one now. Still on the abs. Okay. I'm gonna be now sliding on the sides. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. 15-second break. Then you go back to the workout again. Another 10. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many? 8, 9, 10 for those that are watching on Facebook. So that's 20. Here we go now. Elbow to knee crunches. And then we start doing it. Okay. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So you've done your abs workout for today. And we do that again. And it's going to work out fantastic for you. Let's cool down. I only have seconds to my 5 minutes now. And very soon I'll be signing out. So that's how you do your abs workout. We did 3, if you noticed. So let's go march and start cooling down. March, march, march. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I've enjoyed my session with you. Looking forward to train with you again. Let's go.
Welcome back. You are watching the Camnet Breakfast, and we were just zooming in on Isaac Machisa with the morning workout. As usual, on Africa Freedom Day, he doesn't disappoint, Sharon.
Indeed, Patrick, he doesn't disappoint. Well, a happy Africa Freedom Day to you, our viewers. Thank you so much for always supporting us this far, and we surely hope that you will continue this far. Tell us how you remember these fallen heroes. I mean, it is Africa Freedom Day. Basically, exactly. It's like the independence of Africa, for lack of a better term, you know. So just tell us what fond memories you have of Africa Freedom Day. You know, in past days, there would be huge celebrations, and other countries have huge celebrations in the African continent, just celebrating the freedom that Africa has from the colonial masters, among many other things. Nowadays, we've also included economic freedom. You know, way back when we talk about freedom, we'll just think colonial masters. Yes. But for now, you know, there's economic freedom, there's what freedom. You know, Patrick is claiming for freedom from me. You know, basically, there's just a lot of freedoms that we are encompassing.
Can you elaborate the freedom from me?
Freedom? What is freedom?
Elaborate my freedom from you.
Your freedom from me is wanting to be on set alone without me. You know, but know what?
But am I behind your late coming?
Yes.
I want you to justify that.
Yes, there's always something.
Now people are now getting to know that you are late.
No, you know, Patrick, behind a woman being late, there's always a man. That man, unfortunately, in my life is you.
Interesting, but I wasn't even driving the vehicle that was bringing her to this.
Because you woke up late.
Because Mr. Chifita did her a favor despite her being late. He's not being persecuted in this incident. But we'll see about that.
This is show persecution.
Yes.
This is show persecution.
Exactly.
What politicians say political persecution. Good morning to you, our viewers. You too can contribute on this particular show. Send us those text messages, call us in studio, and share your views on Africa Freedom Day. Also, don't forget that in your communities there are various issues happening, and therefore this is your platform. Call us and tell us so that you can gain that freedom that you so want. Like we mentioned, there is a lot of freedoms. So call us and claim that freedom.
Interesting. Just now we're going to go into our next segment we call Health Corner with the Medical Women Association of Zambia. Let's hear what they have prepared for us. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Mainga Nalube, and I'm with the Medical Women's Association of Zambia. This week, we've been discussing high blood pressure, which is a very common condition and is a very important condition for us to know. And I mentioned that another word or another way to call high blood pressure is hypertension. So whenever you hear the word hypertension, you know someone is talking about high blood pressure. So on Monday, we looked at what it is and its risk factors. We described that hypertension could be primary, it could be secondary, and it has three main factors. So BP has three main factors that affect it. So those three main factors we mentioned were cardiac output, resistance in the arteries, and your blood volume. And then we mentioned some of the risk factors being obesity, smoking, high alcohol intake, family history, and already existing conditions such as diabetes and kidney disease. So yesterday we looked at the signs and symptoms and the complications of hypertension. I mentioned that hypertension is a silent killer. We mentioned why it's called a silent killer. We said that someone could go through their life, could live out their life without knowing that they have high blood pressure and only present with a complication. And we mentioned that these complications are very big, and it would be better if we know we have regular BP checkups, and then if we have high blood pressure, we get this treated by medical personnel to avoid having presenting with these complications. Some of the complications we mentioned were stroke, heart failure. You could also have visual problems. You could also have kidney failure. So on today's segment, we are going to be looking at the diagnosis of high blood pressure. So how do we diagnose high blood pressure? I talked about how when you go to the hospital, the first thing that a health personnel would do is check your vital signs. So some of these vital signs are things like temperature. We've seen them measure our temperature. So one of the most important vital signs is your blood pressure. We check blood pressure on everyone who comes to the hospital, so that we can catch it. If it's high, we can catch if it's high or low and know what further treatment or management to do. So we measure blood pressure using something that we call a BP machine, which is a blood pressure machine. This machine could be automated or it could be manual. The manual one is the one that you've seen the nurses in clinics use. They pump something, so yeah, that one is called a manual one. And then we have an automatic one, which people who are living with hypertension are usually asked to buy because they have to keep having to keep checking their blood pressure, and so it's good that they buy this one. So we've mentioned that it could be an automatic one or a manual one. We have values as medical personnel that show us if your blood pressure is high or if it's low. We won't go into talking about values, but yes, that's how blood pressure is measured. We use a BP machine. In the circumstance that it's found that you have high blood pressure, there are other tests that medical personnel would do. Remember, we talked about complications, so they would want to test to see if any organ in your body has experienced these complications. So they would maybe do tests on your urine to check if your kidneys, if you have a complication in your kidneys due to long-standing untreated high blood pressure. You could also have eye tests, and these are things that people living with hypertension are told to constantly have checked. So you could be told maybe to have visual tests, maybe every year or once every year or twice every year. So these are things that the doctors will check. They could also do some tests on your heart to see if there's been any damage to the arteries in your heart. That's to check for complications. One very important thing we should know is that if you are a person living with high blood pressure or hypertension, it's very important that you keep a record of your blood pressure readings even when you're at home. So usually the doctor will tell you to have a book that you go with to the hospital every time you're going for your reviews. So you can have your blood pressure checked anywhere, in your local pharmacy, in your local clinic, or even at home if you have the BP machine, but you should always record so that if you are on treatment, they know if this treatment is working or not, according to how your blood pressure record has been. So it's very important that if you are living with high blood pressure, you record your blood pressure readings whilst you are on treatment so that you can show it to your doctor every time you go for a review. Thank you so much for watching Health Corner. My name is Dr. Mainga Naluwe and I'm with the Medical Women's Association of Zambia. See you tomorrow.
Welcome back. The Medical Women Association of Zambia never ever disappoints. Every morning we have the breakfast show. They always bring us these medical conditions that you and I would want to know about. At least they give us basic understanding for this. But if you want to know more, you can simply go to these health facilities and find out if at all you are prone to any of these diseases that we talk about today. She was talking about hypertension, commonly known as BP. Actually, na BP haba. So bafuna useka seka. BP. Do we even understand what brings about the issue of BP? So basically, she talked about the machine that is used to measure BP and the normalcy in terms of numbers of what constitutes normal blood pressure. But most of the time, talking about, BP. What do we mean? I've heard you speak on that as well.
No, it is you who have been telling Blessings that, and I want to know that.
I do my joke to BP.
So, and for the record, I came to know
hear,
that actually the acronyms BP mean blood pressure. A little bit late.
Oh yeah?
Because I didn't realize that's what it meant.
But
people would just say BP, and you know, those days I used to see people who are fat.
Yes,
complaining about BP. So when someone who is slim complains about BP, say, you get the sense.
So those are some of the narratives that the Medical Women Association are trying to break in terms of diseases, to say some of these diseases can actually affect anybody. You know, it doesn't matter your age or what, because I think also when I was in my 9th grade, there was a guy I was in the same class with, had BP, you know, and you know, he would actually miss work, miss school for the whole week. I tell him that BP, you know, but they're like, anyway, why you got the BP? How is she? Because we always thought it's
who is annoying that person. That's what was going through. That was what was going through your mind.
Like such a young boy, you know, fishy, you know, what is making you upset, you know? But at some point, again, as I grew, I learned that sometimes even too much excitement would actually ignite blood pressure to actually rise. And, you know, there are many other things that really cause this. And it's also one of those diseases, or people say they are silent killers. Patrick, you've always talked about silent killers, yes. NCDs, and you encourage people to exercise, to just at least brush away these non-communicable diseases like BP, you know, like many other things. Obviously, the doctors have talked about, and they continue to talk about those issues that affect people without them necessarily knowing that this is the situation.
Exactly, Sharon. And this is the right time we have to understand, how is the kwacha performing, by the way?
Let's look at this. So the United States dollars is buying at 17 kwacha na ipona koninoko 17 kwacha yaninako. It was at 16. But anyways, the United States dollars is buying at 17 kwacha 02 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 35 ngwe. The euro is at 18 kwacha 89 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 26 ngwe. The Great British Pound is at 21 kwacha 27 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 69 ngwe. The South African rand is at 1 kwacha 09 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 11 ngwe. Those are your money markets. The Great British Pound always taking center stage. It likes boasting, you know.
It's just a positive currency.
It's a positive currency.
Just trying to bulldoze our quarter.
Trying to bulldoze our quarter, it always takes center stage, you know. It always wants to shine. It's a Beyonce of that world.
Yeah, and we're seeing the dollar trying to maneuver its way through as well. But we just hope that it will remain within the stable range, and we hope it can even go back to the 16. That was the 16 was a little bit better, because if it jumps to 18, we may be seeing other people like shopping coming back. The things people don't want to hear. ERB. And the monthly review.
And in a few days' time, we'll get to know what that review will be about. You know, Patrick, we are in the monthly review, so obviously in a few days, like is it 6 days from now?
Yes.
Today's 25th. Yeah, actually 5 days or 6.
So if you ask me, it is no wonder people have been discouraging the monthly review because of its disadvantages. I think there are plenty of disadvantages.
Yeah. And
it's like at household level where you are consuming on a hand-to-mouth basis, and that's what is happening with our monthly review policy, because it simply indicates that we have no sufficient reserves to cater for us for about 6 months cover, whereby we do not need to inflate the price, because the old stock still cushions us because we had purchased it at a cheaper price. But if we continue reviewing, it means, for example, if we are going next month, we're going to buy while the kwacha is performing at 20 kwacha, it means they have no option but to increase.
Yeah.
But you can avoid those things if, for instance, you have reserves whereby you are covered for at least for a period for over 6 months or even a year. Other countries like the United States, they do reserves for the entire year, even about more than 5 years of cover. They are safe, even if you are not supplying them with the commodity.
Though in 5 years or in a year, they'll have
go
another
to their reserve, yes. So even us, I think as a country, that's where we need to head to if we are to stabilize our fuel, because at the end of the day, people may not realize it, but it affects the most vulnerable of citizens because they fail to adjust. Those with money can adjust at any time. It doesn't matter the cost of fuel. They'll still buy.
They'll still buy. They'll still drive the big vehicles.
Others are now, like the stories we've been doing, Sharon, you have to walk now from Jack compound to Kamwal for you to just do your shopping. It is no longer luxurious to get on a bus, because you think, I'm going to spend the 15. Let me reserve this money and use it to buy candle. You know, those are
and you know, when you talk
come.
about these issues, it seems as though you're just joking, but the reality on the ground is very sad.
Yes.
The increase in price commodity or fuel, it's just so real that you would actually wonder to say, you know, they'll decide to walk a very, very long distance to get something that is actually very important to them. They can't do away with it. So instead of using that 10 kwacha for transport, they would rather use it to buy something else. That's how bad the situation is with these fluctuating prices of commodities in this country. But we surely hope that things will stabilize at some point, as we have been promised by government to say we will stabilize. We are increasing in order to decrease. So we're still waiting for that decrease. For now, though, it's just been an increase. Yes, last month there was a decrease, but it didn't reflect on commodity prices.
No, it didn't.
It didn't reflect. So really, maybe if at all there will be a price decrease of 4 kwacha or 5 kwacha, there will be a decrease. But for now, though, we are still constant on those prices that were increased the other month. And in 5-6 days' time, we will get to know if there will be another review of probably an adjustment upwards or downwards. We'll wait on ARB.
Just now, I think we can zoom in one of the stories, Sharon, pertaining to the age limits. This is the information that actually made the rounds this week, following the statement by the Teaching Council, Teaching Service Commission, where they were talking about the issue of teachers who are above 45 that they were not considered in the recruitment, and because they're too overaged, and
they only have 15
years
to retirement.
Yes. So that's quite an interesting story. Let's hear
it's an interesting story, Patrick. We'll talk about it after this. Let's get to watch this story and pay attention and listen in so that you can contribute on the other side this is your story. You probably have a teacher out there. If you're not affected, if you're not infected, you are affected.
Just
so
like HIV.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Get to comment. Let's hear your views on this story.
The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPEZ, has described as ignorant statements that the Ministry of Education is discriminating against some citizens by disqualifying those above the age of 45 in the ongoing recruitment of 30,000 teachers. The announcement was recently made by Teaching Service Commission Chairperson Tafin Chimuka, who explained that verification for the same was complete at district level, but that teachers who are above the age of 45 as well as foreigners were disqualified. This has brought a lot of debate in the country, with politicians, education stakeholders, and human rights activists condemning the same. NUPEZ Executive President Mr. Victor Muyumba, however, says the age limit is in line with the National Pension Act, which demands that a beneficiary should have served for not less than 15 years if to qualify. He further expresses that the act should not be reformed, as there is need to keep employees within an age range where they are most productive.
It's because of the statutes that we have as a country. Remember, right now, it's mandatory that everyone who is employed must be contributing to NAPSA. And the NAPSA has an act. Now, for you to be eligible for pension, you are supposed to have contributed not less than 180 times. 180 times translate into 15 years of service without breaking any period or year. You should have served for 15 years for you to make 180 contributions. And these jobs are not contractual. They are permanent and pensionable. So everything is supposed to move together. Everything is supposed to move in sync. If the act says you should work not less than 15 years before you are considered for pension, it means you need to look at the retirement age.
Mr. Muyumba has also raised sentiments that some teachers may have been unemployed for a long time, hence the need to give them a chance, stating that it was not until about 7 years ago that the teaching service became overcrowded.
We don't expect, by the way, to have a lot of people. Anyway, I'm yet to see one who finished college and has been waiting for recruitment for all these years, and they have obtained 46 whilst waiting. I'm yet to learn of that. Those that may be above 45, maybe those that may have been in the private sector for quite some years, and now would want to switch from the private sector to government.
The NUPEZ executive president has stressed the need for public-private partnerships as one way of solving the problems in the teaching sector going forward. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
There you have it. Quite an interesting debate, Sharon, there. But I've been thinking, for someone to be at the age of 45 and want to enjoy their first employment, where were they?
I think
first of all, that would be the first question.
That would be the first question. Where were you? Secondly, Patrick, I think we've talked about this times with a number that we have. I'm not sure if it's our education system, but I think
no, you have to be sure it is.
Years back, they introduced what they are calling the is it tier or tier system, where they are teaching skills and theory.
Yes.
Like if you you know. But then, if you're not good at theory, you go to skills. If you're not good at skills, you focus on what you're good with. This is the education system that has been introduced, at least for secondary schools, you know, primary, secondary schools. But then, for tertiary education, I think our mindset growing up has been that let me get educated so that I get employed in the government. That has been the tendency. And that's the more reason why, for me, you're having people at 45 wanting to be employed in government, you know. The bigger question is, where were they? Why, where were they? They were waiting for the government to employ them.
You're right.
You know? But then, is this what we should do as a people, waiting on government to employ us? Because the truth of the matter is that government cannot employ everyone. That's the more reason why. And the most developed countries, Patrick, they don't even have a lot of civil servants. People have gone into the private sector. They are productive and they are supplementing government's effort. Government, for example, says we need this production. Government doesn't have the funds to form that manufacturing company, but the private sector will come in and do that. But then honestly, 45. That's a lot of years.
That reminds me also, Sharon. I was interviewing Clement Andeleki, a member of parliament for Katombola constituency. He came here and blagged, right? And I was like, as journalist, what do we do? He was saying that, you know what, my brother, I'm a lawyer. And this same issue of being a lawyer is that this job, you don't need capital.
Exactly.
You just go to the court premises and start identifying your potential clients. And you are in self-employment.
Exactly.
You get it. Eh? But the same can be employed in any other profession. It just depends on the determination and commitment one has. Exactly. We haven't been thinking entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
We have been thinking about employment. I want to be employed. Just like others were saying that the issue has been when you are at school, the question they ask you is that whom do you want to become? You start identifying a profession. I want to become a
doctor.
I want to become a doctor because already you are seeing a teacher in front of you.
Yes.
And it's a teacher who is asking you. So you think that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
But there's no teacher who would accept a child telling them to say, I want to be a businessman. They will tell him, how can you be a businessman? You see?
You know?
That's the mentality that we've been instilling in children over the years. And now you see we have these people now at 45 still wanting to be employed by the government. And I can tell you that the other argument that has been advanced is that you had Camnet Panji Kaunda being taken to Malawi.
Appointed as ambassador for Malawi.
Why can't the same be extended to the teachers who have spent their money to be to be educated and be able to provide a service? And why in the diplomatic mission you're not attaching the age limit? The others have advanced that notion. I don't know what you think about that.
Still, you know, appointment jobs really, I don't think they've got age, and usually they're based on experience that somebody has. I wouldn't want to go much into the nitty-gritties of the experience that Panji Kaunda has, you know, but to some extent, yes, they do have a point. But at the same time, they don't have a point. For me, why I say so is because I wouldn't want to box myself into waiting to be employed. That is just a bad thing for me, for lack of a better term. It's just limiting my potential to grow, to do things. A salary, I think we had one of the guests here, Patrick, who even boasted and said, a civil servant just gets a meager salary that cannot even sustain their lives. I don't even know why people insist on wanting to be employed in these public institutions. Why? Because there's a notion that in the government, people will not fire you anyhow. You know, there's a long process for you to be fired. There's job security. But what is job security?
I think the major incentive is
job security.
Getting
a loan.
highly indebted.
Getting a loan by these financial institutions that will not...
That's the major incentive that is comparing to just be engulfed in debt, which has ended up killing people with stress.
Exactly. The first 3 months you get paid, the 4th month you get a loan, you're driving a Corolla and you're well off. That's just the way of life. When you start paying for the next 6-7 years.
And I think I have a counter argument on the issue of retirement, because this is because on the aspect of diplomats, for instance, this is because the diplomatic job is not tied to a retirement age. But being a teacher, they are saying that the advancement that has been also pushed is that by 15 years, Sharon, you have to work more than 15 years for you to qualify for a pension.
Is it 20? Isn't it 20?
15. So about 15. So now, about in that bracket, Sharon, so you're already too old. So you may not even get a pension.
You may not even perform according to the expectations. You don't have the energy.
So I think we really need to see how we ensure that education in the private sector is strengthened, that it is able to absorb our teachers. If it is able to absorb most of our teachers, then I don't think we'll be having these complaints. Because at the end of the day, I see a lack of entrepreneurship where people cannot even open up a tuition center. We have seen people who are big, like the tuition academy for Siatrambo, is it?
Yes.
You see, they started small, but it's big and is employing others. You can equally do the same.
Exactly.
But, you know, it takes a commitment and determination to arrive at such a position. It's not easy. It has to take a little bit of sacrifice and commitment. But you can imagine if we have such people in every constituency or ward, it means Zambia will be at another level in terms of development. Because, Sharon, when you are developed, we are guaranteed that where you are coming from, automatically you are contributing a big deal in terms of development at that community. So if you imagine we have a lot of citizens doing that, it means others are able to employ other teachers, others are businessmen, as business people, as teachers. So that's the way we need to progress further, because at the end of the day, if you look at the numbers that applied, over 100,000 to over 30,000. So what will happen to the rest?
70,000.
What will happen? So they need to find something to sustain themselves. Otherwise, I just met someone even in the CBD, Sharon. He was busy doing his business of vending, where he was selling these things to people from one shop to another. He was telling, say, if you are going to wait for Waganda Chilema to come to your doorstep and tell you and give you money, you are wasting your years. It is you to take advantage of the opportunities that are existing to advance yourself. If you are not going to wait, you come and you vote, you continue voting and vote for other government, but yet you see no change in your life because yourself you are not making deliberate efforts. That was just that about that story, Sharon. But I also want us to just get updated with what is trending in the world of sports, Sharon. We had locally we had the Football Association of Zambia with a number of activities, and our women's team was also should be heading to Morocco there, and the preparations have intensified. We also saw the Chiporoporo coach also making headways in terms of putting up the squad together. This is the squad that is in camp for our women's squad. Sharon, we have Hazel, Nadi, but most of them we don't know them. We need to be watching sports for our
blessings should be here.
And we have okay, let me just read through the squad that we have. For goalkeepers, we have Eze Onali. We also have Letitia Lungu. We have Catherine Musonda. We have Eunice Isakala. We have Agnes Banda. And the teams that are contributing, those players include Faith Vatan Sport. We also have we have Zesco. We also have Indeni
Roses. We have
Quasi Queens
National Assembly as well.
Yeah, those are the teams that are contributing. Exactly. And for the defenders, Sharon, we have those girls who have been included in the squad. Esther Banda, Esther Siamfuko. Yeah, and we have Margaret Belemu. She related to Honorable Belemu.
I was almost thinking in those lines. Margaret Belemu. We have Betha Imponene from Quasi Queens. We have Vast Piri. We have Martha Tembo, Lusho Momwemba, Anita Mulenga, all from Green Buffaloes. Is it Buffaloes or Buffaloes? Buffaloes?
Yes, Buffalo.
We have Pauline Zulu from Lusaka Dynamos and Judith Soko from Yasa
My
Girls.
sister there.
Yes, indeed, Patrick. The midfielders include Misozi Zulu, Irene Lungu, Mary Vilombe, Everine Susan Katongo, related to wife to yes, Katongo. Anyway, Rhoda Chileshe, we have Maweta Chilenga, and the strikers include Rachel Kundananje, very common
that
name
one
there.
Is a prominent
Exactly,
name of the names
Yomala Mapepe, and we also have Grace Chanda, we have Ochumba Oseke Luvanji, We have NLS Piri, Jesse Zulu, we have Noria Sosala, we have Natasha Nanyangwe from Green Buffaloes as well. So those are some of the people that headed to Morocco representing the She Polo Polo, and we hope that they'll bring us better, great results.
Yeah, but before that, we also have the Champions League, Sharon, this week. This is the final of the Champions League. This game will be will be between Liverpool and Real Madrid. The team have been initiating to.
I think I was talking to Prudence. She said Liverpool. Oh, she said Liverpool. She left.
She's Man City.
Man City. Oh, she said that over Liverpool na Libasha. You know,
wala
to disappoint. Wala to like a BP. The same BP that the doctors we are talking about. I don't know where she gets it from.
Exactly. So those are the games that will be played over the weekend, and this is a big match. And you see, I can see Liverpool has been given more odds, Sharon, 45% chances of winning. And Real Madrid has only been awarded 28%.
28%.
And their chances of a draw is 27%. But there won't be a draw. They have to play the penalties.
Unreal.
But that will be in the regulation time when in terms of the draw. So we see that Liverpool has been tipped to be the favorites to win the Champions League. But I can assure you that I'm not trying to be biased, but I'm trying to assure that Real Madrid is not a team to underestimate.
And Bola in 90 minutes. I don't really follow so much of these things, but I
you have
know
heard that term, eh?
Yes, I've heard that term, Bola in 90. And
which other term?
I think Bola in 90 is what I get. What's wrong with you?
Okay. We'll introduce another
Bola in 90. So really, I think sometimes people get disappointed. You know, the team that they feel will win, especially Betty, you know, they'll actually ticket so I'm hoping that Elijah will not put his money on the team that is already expected to win, but will take the chance and do it on the other team that seems not to have the odds in its favor.
Yeah,
you know, tables turn.
Yeah,
I think that's another term.
And if you ask me about the same betting, Elijah, Amos, Isaac, I don't think they have been successful this year in Endeavor. I don't think so. They've been guessing wrongly, just like Felix Mutati did guess wrong when he thought Liverpool will win, but the league. But
so Felix Mutati was open on that.
Yeah, on his Facebook page he says, "Congratulations to Man City, but he's a ticket in the year. I mean,
I can actually hear his voice right now.
You see.
Honorable Mutati, Minister of Science and Technology, also commenting on those things. Obviously, he was just teasing these guys.
Yes, he was. He was teasing the three guys. You understand? The
three musketeers.
The three musketeers. So because they haven't been successful, and I have tried to tell them, say, okay, try this one. Try better this one. Then they're just rigid. Then I advise them, say, okay, just stop cash. But they are still rigid. You
know, at some point, I think with Amos, he was almost being. They've got this which they call like when they see that you're about to win, then they offer you some money.
At money gate.
Money back.
Money back.
It's not money back. And I just stop looking at your phone and help us here. You do these things. Is it money
so
back?
That if you win some games, yes, you can withdraw.
You can withdraw, yes. Like so. That. He had this good money, you know, against the money that he put on. So I was like, anyway, he said in the FMPA, he refused.
He refused.
To win. The following day, when I asked,
how did it go?
It's a story for another day. But anyways,
let's zoom in another story, Sharon. Which story are we zooming in at the moment?
We had a lot of stories from the courts. Quite alright. It was some of them were read-overs, but let's look at the court stories.
On
Very interesting.
Bowman Lusambo, on the issue of content, where he's taking on Anderson Banda from the UPND. Let's hear that story. We'll be back shortly.
Fear of what transpired on the 20th of May 2022, Imbato Kaushi Member of Parliament Bowman Lusambo and his wife have asked the Economic and Financial Crimes Court to cite United Party for National Development, Lusaka Youth's provincial chairperson Anderson Banda for contempt for allegedly interfering with the operations of the court. The embattled lawmaker and his wife Nancy Lusambo made this application Tuesday morning through their defense counsel Makebi Zulu when they appeared before Lusaka Magistrate Faide Samaundu. In the case, they are charged with 10 counts, among them being in possession of property suspected of being proceeds of crime, conspiracy to defraud, and tax evasion. According to their application, the duo submit that on the 20th of May 2022, UPND cadres stormed the court premises and threatened to kill them, and it was only by the help of the police officers that they managed to flee from the premise safely. They have since argued that they will not be subjected to a fair trial without intimidation if the court does not act upon the request, given the basis that the incident occurred within the presence of the court, which is tantamount to lowering the court's dignity, a thing that amounts to contempt. The court has since adjourned the case to the 3rd of June 2022 for ruling and has directed the defense to file submissions on the alleged contempt and the state to respond. On Friday last week, a horde of UPND youths stormed at the Lusaka's Magistrate Court and caused confusion when they attempted to manhandle Mr. Lusambo and PF Information Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda. Police in riot gear sneaked Mr. Lusambo into the tunnels before driving him away, using a police vehicle to safety. However, UPND Lusaka Youth's Provincial Chairperson Anderson Banda refuted claims on Friday when he addressed the media at the court's ground that the group was not there to manhandle Mr. Lusambo and his wife. He disclosed to the media that the group was there to follow proceedings and offer solidarity to President Hakainde Hichilema in a defamation case.
We have not come here to manhandle anyone or to disturb any court proceeding here. We are basically here to show solidarity to the president, our beloved president. That's all. And we are within the confines of the law to offer solidarity, and we've been doing this even the time when we were in opposition. When we are coming here offering solidarity to our president, even now when there is a matter involving the president, we are within the law to offer solidarity to the president. If we wanted to manhandle Boma Lusambo and anyone else, they were going to be in the air by now. No one was going to stop us. So that accusation or those media, whatever you are talking about, they are malicious. Probably maybe created by the same desperate chaps like Boma Lusambo and Nakachinda. In fact, Nakachinda is an unrepentant lunatic. He is an unrepentant lunatic. And time is catching up with him. It's not good to provoke people who are silent and who are respecting you.
Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Camnet Breakfast. My name is Sharon Kalimbola, and today is Africa Freedom Day. We asked you to send in those contributions and call us so that you can give us your say on what this day means to you. It is indeed for the African continent, and Zambia is part of Africa, and therefore Africa freedom means Zambia's freedom. So we want you to contribute on this show. And right about now, we are joined on set by a very, very important guest. The fact that he's male and championing issues relating to females, it gives me a huge excitement. Actually, it just creates this euphoria around me, you know. Patrick.
Exactly. Mr. Edgar Swilimba, the director and founder of Human Street Health Aid Zambia, and he's going to help us discuss issues pertaining to menstrual hygiene. As you may be aware, Sharon, on the 28th of May 2022, this is an annual event. We'll be commemorating Menstrual Hygiene Day. And Menstrual Hygiene Day is a global platform that brings together non-profit government agencies, individuals, the private sector, and the media to catalyze advocacy and action towards a world where no one is held back because they menstruate by 2030.
Indeed.
And this is quite an important arrangement, Sharon. If you ask me, 58 years after independence, we are still grappling with this challenge of menstrual hygiene, especially in rural areas. Our girls suffer and they do miss school because of the same issue. Mr. Edgar Swirimba, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good to have you.
Sure, thank you.
We just to get the conversation started. We just tell us a little bit about your organization and why you chose to advocate for female folk like you. You decided to charm Sharon Karimbo
with one of those gadgets.
Exactly.
I think coming from an experience where I grew up from a remote area, I grew up from Chibombo.
Mm-hmm.
And later got a chance to move to the city.
Mm-hmm.
But also I've done a lot of community or work, volunteer work with Sport in Action.
Mm-hmm.
Later worked with Sport in Action. So many of the times would go into these doing community outreach programs, experience sports programs in these schools. And you find that most of the times you'd have this huge gap in terms of the number of girls coming to attend your activities. And usually these activities were meant to bring about social change and intervention in these communities. But usually you have 20 boys and you have 5 girls attending the program. So then it just dragged my attention to say, but why is it that we always have a few girls attending our program? And why do we also have very few girls just attending schools, school in rural areas? So after a few questions and a bit of research, I realized that menstruation was the biggest barrier to everything. So this caught my attention. I was like, wow, we still have people not being able to go to school because of menstruation. And we still have people not participating in sports all because of periods. You'd have girls actually saying, you never teach us in because you know, it's a very common phrase.
Yes.
Especially in rural areas, girls would say nadwara mutu.
But when I say I have mutu, it's mutu. Yeah. Don't think otherwise.
Yeah, for you in the city, but you know, for the girls, and they will stay away for probably 7 days coming to school. You know, it's I will tell you that for girls in rural areas, they are never looking forward to their periods. I don't know, every lady says no one looks forward to that, unless otherwise. But for them, because their worry is more than anything else, one, they don't have what to use. So it's a whole lot of mixture of ideas, and just being thoughtful of how best we can, we're talking about equity and equality.
Exactly.
But I still felt with over 45 years of Zambia being an independent state, we still had people still crying over accessibility, you know, to proper menstrual hygiene services. And not just that, in certain places, you don't even have a shop selling sanitary pads. So you wonder how people survive. And this is how the thought came about. And I spoke to a friend of mine, James. I was like, James, what do you think? I think let's begin a program to do with menstrual hygiene. So we first began working with street kids.
Yeah.
We were giving sanitary pads to street kids. But whilst doing that, we thought, how best could we be more impactful to society? Because, you know, we would give street kids, but then at the end of the day, we also want to see that the people we give sanitary pads are also going to pay back to society. So we thought of also extending the help to public schools. So this is how we had to legalize and register this as an organization. And the journey began, and here we are now working with schools in, we're now working with schools in Chongwe district, and hoping this Friday to officially launch our menstrual health school support initiative in Central Province. So we'll be doing our launch at Makululu Primary School on Friday. Yeah, to just try and also mitigate. Of course, you know, Makululu is one of the densely populated areas or compounds in Africa, and with lots of social and economical challenges. So we felt we would begin from that end so that we have more girls staying in school, and also just to improve the chances or the likelihood of a girl child attaining a full or a better life through improved school attendance.
Indeed, the fight against gender inequality takes concerted efforts, and here is Mr. Silwimba and his colleagues forming this organization to champion the cause for the girl child, and that really touches me. Like I mean, you know me when it comes to girl children, and it is commendable that you're doing such a great job. You mentioned that this is a flagship that is in Chongwe. and you're soon to open one in Makululu.
Yes.
And any other areas that you do these projects in?
Okay, we have certain pockets of areas in Lusaka, but we don't really have sites, I would say, because sometimes in Lusaka we've made donations to certain specific areas of interest. We made a donation to a school with children with special needs. So those are special areas, because we understand that the challenges Lusaka might not be the challenges people in Chongwe or Makululu have, and other remote areas. So it's about working with places which are almost inaccessible, and places which are very much facing huge challenges in terms of economical areas and also accessibility. So we have Chongo as our pilot area, which we've worked in Chongo for about now 3 years on this project. So we now thought of just extending to Central Province to begin with Makululu. So we're going to work with actually the DEB's office for Kabwe, and hoping to work with rural schools for Kabwe district. And probably if we get more supplies, we hope to go as far as Kaputa. Our dream is bigger. We hope to reach to the most remote and vulnerable girl in Zambia, but incapacitated, of course, with logistical issues. But for now, it's going to be Kabwe Rural, to be specific, and Chongwe.
But who finances your activities, and how do you raise the resources to help the girls?
Okay, so we don't have a funder. We don't have anybody giving us money to do these activities for now. We have this. This comes from organic cups. So these are our funders for the menstrual cups which we use, which we are giving to the girls. So, but we don't have logistical funding. Or how do we move from here to Kabwe?
Exactly, from here to Chongwe.
From here to Chongwe, we need to. So every time it's about the little monies you mobilize, and a few well wishers would go in, but we don't have specific
stable
funding for logistics. That is why probably it's been very hard to expand the project to any other area, because our offices are based in Lusaka. So, but how do we move to even Kanakantapa? We have to mostly hire a vehicle, and I'll tell you that roads in certain parts are almost inaccessible. Would want to go to the furthest area, because we have these things for free from our donors, organic cups, but we don't have money attached to ensure that these things reach.
You transport them to the immediate areas.
And we also have to do capacity building, because we need to teach the girls on how to use these things. But we need also to feed the human resource. How do they move? What do they eat whilst they're in the field? So probably this has been the biggest challenge for us, because it's a small organization with big dreams, of course. But it was a good question, actually. That's one of the major issues. But we have the menstrual cups. We have them in
open it. Let's see how it looks like. I'm curious.
Yeah. So, and probably you'd be asking why the menstrual cup?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is how it looks like. It's made out of silicone. It's made out of silicone, and it also has a lifespan of over 10 years. So what it means, we're talking about sustainability, and also we're also talking about, this is organic.
Yes.
And also it means that it also has better health repercussions, to say.
Yes.
So if we give one girl today who's in grade 5, so for the next 10 years, they will not have to buy sanitary pads.
Wow.
So we're talking about sustainability, and we know that if we go in the remotest areas, we empower the girl child with this. For me, I always say this is like God giving somebody God in their hands, because this stands between their poverty, this stands between their education, this stands between them achieving a full academic potential. This stands between them becoming an MP one day. This stands between them becoming a minister or a president.
Or becoming me.
Or becoming like you.
Yes.
So many girls actually fail to attain their full academic potential, all because of this.
Yeah.
So, but given one for the next 10 years, then it means that the girl child, because it's reusable, when it's full, you just have to remove it, remove the droplets, clean it, insert it back. And this is how our girls in Chongwe have survived. This is how our girls in Chongwe are able to attend sports. They're able to attend to class on a regular basis. And this is our sustainable model, because we first began with giving sanitary pads.
Yes.
But then the cost of doing that is way too expensive, because then
you give on a monthly basis. You have to buy.
Yes, and we are a developing country. I don't think so we have such capacity for now. So and this is also in terms of health issues.
Implications?
This is quite healthy, because sanitary pads have good chemicals that, you know, and this saves well, even for people who've had cervical cancer. Would attest that this is probably something they would recommend for them to use after, because you rarely have reactions as a result of the menstrual cup. And inserting one would last for about 8 to 10 hours. You can have this on, and you can actually use the bathroom while it's having this on. You can use the toilet or removing it. So it's very convenient actually for the school girl. You know, when you go to school at 7 in the morning, obviously pupils are in school for about 5 hours.
Yes.
Or so. So it means that for the whole period, the girl will not have to go and change a pad or anything. Their focus is just on school.
On school.
Yeah. I always give a story, probably to why I always feel men should always be part of this conversation, like my brother here. Because there was a story I always tell, a very short story. There was a boy who sat on a public bus, and they were knocking off from school. So the other girl sat on the opposite seat. So the girl, her periods started while she was on the bus. So she messes up her school uniform. So she touches behind and she checks his blood. So the boy on the opposite side notices. So what the boy does, so the conductor says, "Mseruka, Bama Road, you know?" So the girl was supposed to drop off at that station. Then the girl couldn't, because the whole dress was messed up. So what that boy does, the bus continues moving. So the boy notices that, no, Mary is supposed to drop off from there, but obviously it's because of the stains. So the boy removes his jumper, his jersey, and goes and whispers to Mary and says, "Could you use this to cover yourself?" And removes the 5 kwacha, gives back to the girl to say, "Ukwerere ubwepe oserukira." You know, the girl just said thank you and dropped off, you know. And the conductor was even shouting, "You was friends who come, but we're pitying."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Without understanding what happened.
This is what girls go through actually during monthly periods. And if you don't have what to use, it can be the most horrible experience.
Exactly.
But if men take key interest in the welfare of the girl child, we take this issue as an ordinary thing, we're going to make the lives of these people even better. Because I'll tell you that from that day onwards, the girl felt very supported. And this is why, if you go out into these schools, if females or female teachers talk about this issue, the girls don't appreciate it as much. But if we, the men, because usually they are scared to talk about it because of taboos, if but if we open up to them, they're like, "Oh, so this
it's a normal thing." It's a normal thing.
So that is why I'm always saying, if we are to fight period poverty, and if it has to have its relevance in this country, then men should take the front seat.
Yeah.
And I've done more stories than anybody else on the same subject.
I'm glad you have.
Patrick,
you know that.
You're trying to get accolades for something you haven't.
Elijah, you know that.
No, but now that you've done a lot of stories, I think it's time to start. Mula tushtilako. Buy for us.
Sharon, I have no problem. I can't tell you to do that. Can I? Already I've lobbied for you. You have to get some.
You lobbied. I lobbied before you.
Interesting conversation we are having. But I also want to find out, because okay, this is quite a progressive project, and I don't know if at all you have partnered with any government institutions, because the government itself at some time, I remember having covered that story myself, on the budget should be for the year. It should be for the year 2016 or 2018. They had pronounced to ensure that they provide sanitary towels to girls, but it never actually materialized to a level of satisfaction. That's if it materialized at all. Then we also saw recent pronouncements. The government said we'll be distributing these sanitary wear, but it is not being done at the level that is can be said that it is serving its purpose as a policy pronouncement. But if you look at this quite a sustainable interventions, how can the government and other stakeholders partner with you to ensure that you help distribute these so that our girls can actually benefit and actually be able to attain education?
Okay, first and foremost, last year we did a protest at Parliament. We petitioned Parliament to actually remove duty on sanitary pads or remove duty on any import raw materials which are used in the production or manufacturing of sanitary pads. So we submitted our petition to Parliament, and positively, lucky enough, government responded, and the positive response was government is going to be giving sanitary pads for free to school-going children. And I think about a month ago, they published a tender procedure or advert for people to supply sanitary pads. But I'm also just questioning how effective this is going to be. Sustainability is my biggest concern, because they are going to be dealing with disposable sanitary towels. But we have the economic muscle as Zambia to do this, because then, you know, the challenge is every day there's a new girl who attains a puberty. Yes. This is a challenge with this whole initiative. Every day, if you give 300 girls, next day you go to that school, the moment you leave, actually, there are other girls who've actually attained puberty. Correct. So it's an ongoing thing. So I'm just worried to whether we can sustain this with disposable sanitary towels. But I felt, I think the best approach also from, we are already working with schools, and we're willing to go as much as we can to ensure that the girl child in the school benefits. But I think I would also call upon government to involve organizations already working with this project, because I understand that we have the much needed experience. We've been working with schools, and it's not just about giving sanitary towels. The girls, some of them have never even used sanitary pads. So when you give them, what's next? So we also need to do menstrual health or menstrual hygiene awareness. How best do they take care of themselves? If they're given menstrual cups, how best do they dispose? What's the whole procedure? Because menstruation is about basic hygiene. Yes. That's the whole concept surrounding that. But also, I felt to some extent we've been very conservative with regard to subject of menstrual hygiene. Very conservative. So you find that the public has not really opened up enough. No. The government itself also has been very conservative, reserved to how much they could approach this issue. Of course, not knowing how the community will respond to it. But I think we're in the best driving seat, and I feel we could supplement government's efforts in the best way by probably letting certain NGOs handle this project and see how best we can go about it. But trust me, we are more than ready to go the furthest. If today I'm told, Mr. Sweeney, my government, I want you to go to Kaputa to go and do this project, we'll go and supplement and support government. Okay. Yes, because we have the capacity.
Patrick, before you come in, the menstrual cups, do they have age to which somebody can, not necessarily lifespan, but does it have an age limit?
Okay, they come in different sizes. Probably something I should have mentioned. So we have A, B, and C. So we have menstrual cups for girls who are not sexually active. Exactly, that's what that was my concern. And the girls who are virgins, so they are smaller in size. So that's A. So those could be used without any complications or fear of probably loss of virginity. Yes, before anything happens.
That was my concern.
This is probably the greatest concern for most people. But exactly. You can get some you know, there are a lot of girls who ask this question. And I think even most doctors would attest that we have actually a good team of medical personnel on our team, and it's proven that the menstrual cup will not break your virginity, because you are inserting it inside and it opens up. It sits like this when you set it inside, so there's no penetration you know. And you can lose virginity even while riding a bicycle and many other ways. And actually, to talk of size, we also have probably, I know you'd always wonder when you look at this, looks very big. So then it's about how does this whole thing go in? Exactly. But I'll tell you that from the experience of the team and the girls we've given, because there are different ways of inserting the menstrual cup. So you have the C Ford, you have the U Ford, so it becomes smaller. You see, this is like the U Ford, right? If you do this, this becomes very small. Yes. Yes. So, and you insert it. So you just put a bit of water to it, and you insert it inside. It's very comfortable, and it doesn't destroy anybody. So for mothers, for example, one who's given birth before, because their pelvics are a bit bigger, so we usually give them size B or C. Yes, but because our project it's for girls usually. It's only targeting school girls, so we only, even our donors, as they give us the pads, the menstrual cups, we only get B and A. Because we get B, because we are also supporting the back to school. Yes, girls, the re-entry policy. Yes, the entry policy. So we are trying to ensure that we also promote this. And what we are doing in rural areas, because you know we have a lot of people coming, 90% going, so we tell them, if your child is not in school, then you can't be a beneficiary. So even the girls who've dropped out of school, we tell them, no, you just come back and register. So when you register back as a student and you start coming to school, they give us the register that you're consistent, and then we're going to give you, because then we want to supplement and support the girl child in school. So that we don't promote if we give them whilst they're at home, they will stay there and be mothers and wives. Continue being mothers and wives. Yes, we want them to be mothers and wives when they are able to be in control of their lives. You know, they are stable. They can be like you, speaking on TV. Good example.
But the suppliers, they are willing to just give you in excess of whatever quantity you want. Or what is the agreement you have with them? And where are they made from?
Okay, so these
are they made in Zambia?
These come from Germany. These come from Germany, and these also come from Germany. But they also have a warehouse in China. Okay. Yes. So the biggest challenge as well, as you've said. Can I touch it? Of course. And you can have this. This one is yours.
I want the whole box. Yeah. So I'm actually a beneficiary of this. I love freebies. That's why I love this show.
Yeah, so she's our brand ambassador.
Yes, definitely. I wanted to talk to you about it, but since you've actually called me out now, so with immediate effect.
Yeah. So coming to your question, organic cups this is a business. For them, they sell these to in Europe, mostly into Western countries, because of course this is not very much on the market in Africa, and of course just issues of inserting are not yet. Yes, and also menstruation is not highly talked about publicly in Africa. No. So it's not good business. Yeah, for them in Africa. So we receive this with conditions, of course. They're not giving us millions, but of course each year they've increased their supply. We write, we request to just get as many as we can, but it's out of their discretion. But I'm glad, and I would thank them that they've been quite consistent, because every year we give our reports, and I think the results are quite evident that this is bringing a lot of change and support to the girl child. But I think I would ask for government to consider this route, to buy, if they can buy menstrual cups, this is well and better than getting sanitary pads. Organic cups also has what we call the padins. They are pants. Yes. And of late there's been a lot of debate with regards to reusable sanitary pads, with regards to how best can they be cleaned, because you can't put them on the line traditionally, because this is something treated sacred. Yes, unfortunately. It should not be the case. It should not be the case. Yes, so, but still, these are issues we have to deal with over a period to try and change the narrative. So, I felt maybe getting reusable cups and paddings, which are like pants. Yes, that is more sustainable. And if government would come on board and buy from organic cups, and I think they're cheaper if they're being bought for donation than for retail. So if you're buying them to go and donate, I think I would.
There's a bit of a tax incentive.
Yes, because they know that this is really meant to just go and help people. But I'll tell you that what we are receiving is not enough to cater for the demand.
Okay, so let me just take you back a little. The whole issue surrounding menstrual hygiene or menstrual issues is deemed highly private and a taboo to talk about. Even the way we're talking about, I'm sure somebody out there is like, Abanabo?
You know? but I'm happy that the things are a bit changing compared to the past.
Haven't you, how has been the response with the rural community that you're dealing with? Because Monom Town, we are a bit enlightened and we can talk about these things, not as much as I can talk about with Patrick. But we are talking right now, but on the other side, we wouldn't even dare talk about it.
Because she's shy.
Yes, because I'm shy, you know. But then for the elders, especially, with their moral standing, their taboo standing, their traditional understanding, how has been the response with you just penetrating those communities and talking about these things, you as a man especially?
Yes, I think not the lightest tasks ever. I remember when we went to Chongwe, first of all, we had a meeting with these old women, Chimbusa and the like, you know. First of all, we actually, just went into the schools. There was a lot of backlash and a lot of negative response. Some children had to bring them back, you know, So we realized that we need to change our approach.
Yes.
So first of all, we went to the community and went back to the school. So not the easiest thing, but I think I would have questioned and say, exactly. You know, and some women would actually leave, you know. But I think for every journey, it's about just keep on hitting the stone until it breaks. So
advocacy.
We just remained consistent and also engaged the right people. We brought in, I think I would also want to thank former Chongwe Member of Parliament, Jaffe Mwakalombe, quite supportive to the inception of this project. We had to, he came on board, brought in people, traditional leaders. He tried to explain it from a civic point of view. And guys, this is meant for, and we brought in the most influential people. They're those women in the communities, the senior citizens. When they speak, everyone listens. So we first had to sell the product to the old women, explain to the mothers. The mothers were like, oh, but this is how it works. But why are you men? That was the question, you know. And now we explained that this issue has always been there, but I think we felt we've neglected you for so long. And when we explained to the women that we actually feel we should be the ones to support you, then unlike leaving it all to you, I gave this narrative that when a man is giving money out to a woman for food, they never put money for pads. They will just say, oh, Yandi, Then a mother...
So why are you guilty? Why are you smiling?
Out of her own initiative.
You are guilty.
Not at all.
You are.
I'm a clean chap.
So out of her own initiative, she's going to say, okay, Kapenta, Binzi, and everything. Then she has got 3 children, female children. She'll say, okay, I think for pads. You know, then the man will come and say, you know, that question. Then the woman will say, the man will say, forgetting that this mother has got this other hidden issue to sort out, because you as a father,
you ignore it.
You're not even concerned about it. It's worrying that you even have a wife who attends periods, but you forget to take care of the periods of your own children. Because this is something which we all understand.
Exactly.
Because when you're married to somebody, we know that
women's traits.
And this is how you even had children. So because of this whole biological scenario.
Yes.
But many of the times that men, parents, fathers, dads ignore this issue. And women actually have taken punches in the face, you know, they just swallow it. She will not even say Nagura Mapads.
Yeah.
Because they can't even open up to their own husbands about the welfare of their children. So we explained it to these mothers that we know you go through a lot. And this is why we've come on board to support you. And the mothers were like, wow, gentlemen, is this what you mean? So this is what we mean. We're not here to disgrace you. We are coming here as a rescue team.
Yes.
So, and as a rescue team, mothers always feel, you know, it's like somebody who's in a crisis and you go and just extend your hand and say, come on, hold me. I want to pull you out. So this is how mothers look at us. We have this approach. Even in Kabo, we had, I think a month ago, we did an orientation with the community leaders, Manachimbusas, and everything. We had these conversations, and we've already marketed the menstrual cup to the parents. So moving into schools in Makururu will be as an easy ride as anything, because when they go back home, the mothers will be like, oh, if you have a and that, you know, and the mothers actually saying, bring it on. We need this issue. So yes, not the easiest thing, especially in Chongwe.
Yeah.
People are very conservative in the areas where we're working.
Exactly.
So, but the first few days we almost wanted to give up. But I said, guys, this is a revolutionary thought. It's about changing the whole narrative. People for the last 80, 100 years never thought a man would publicly
talk
discuss
about this
menstrual hygiene. So I said, guys, and the team is mostly comprised of gentlemen. So I said, gentlemen, this is not going to be easy. To break through this community, we have to be hard. And probably we'll be chased, but we'll have to come back tomorrow. And people eventually will see us different. And now people there, when they see us, actually parents come, the marketeers at the market will say, you know, now they can openly talk about it. And for me, this is what puts a smile on my face. Because I know that once this issue is not a taboo, or is not treated as a taboo, which should not be, many people open up. There are a lot of people having a lot of UTIs, a lot of menstrual hygiene related infections. Actually, bacterial infections are very common to mention in these rural areas. And they can't open up. They can't even go to a doctor because, you know, anything to do with vaginal issues.
It's very private.
It's very private. And in the rural areas, it even becomes worse. A lot of people, you know, even when they have fistulas, they will not go to the hospital. For them, they'll just be like, no, it's maybe manamulowa. So we are also doing all this education, you know, trying to raise awareness about UTIs. This could come as a result of just poor hygiene surrounding, you know. This. It's not that when you have this, because they can't even tell their mothers, because their mothers don't know what a UTI is. So we are also raising awareness to the communities. Oh, there are these issues which come with menstrual hygiene. If you don't take good care of yourself, you might have this, and this is not the end of the world. You can be treated, you can go to the hospital, you know. So people are seen as to be equal partners in development. They are not seen as to be people who are going to disgrace them, but now we are seen as brothers and sisters in Christ, as we would say.
Indeed. Patrick, can you say amen anyway?
Amen.
Yes. Very interesting conversation. He's smiling throughout and wondering where you got all this information from. He's actually saying, "Man,
no, because I understand. I understand this subject.
Patrick, I hope you.
There is a guy I usually, if you remember, in fact, I need to introduce him to him. Is Masupa Samakai. He's from Kitwe. It does monthly distribution of sanitary towels in community schools using his pocket money. And I'm the one who actually named him to say, since you like, he didn't know how I should quote him. Right? He told him, since you like, this is a girls' issue, so I'll be calling you a girls' rights activist. And he does that on a monthly basis. So every time he has an activity, he will tell me, how do I do it? I tell him how to send the videos, to interview the girls and everything. I've done quite a number of those stories. And under the ESA commitment, Sharon, this is one of the issues we've been looking at, especially in terms of the Eastern Southern African commitments, in terms of Zambia's progress, in terms of addressing barriers that hinder girl child education, because we have signed to a lot of commitments to ensure that there's inclusive access to education, including our own sustainable development goals, whose deadline is in 2030, Sharon. So this issue has been also among the barriers that hinder inclusive access to education, Sharon. So for me, I think their organization and others, they just need the same support that we provide, even us as the media, to ensure that this message sinks into the minds of the many people. You may, like we were talking on another subject, you may think, when you just talk about menstrual hygiene, you just think you talk about it, but there are faces behind that subject.
Yes.
So, but like he has been unpacking the issue. So it is just a collective responsibility that we all need to ensure that this issue is holistically addressed. And I'm happy that you are becoming an ambassador. But I'm still wondering that all this while she's been quiet. And when I opted to bring Mr. Swirimba here, she just comes out and hopes to attack me in what direction and take over without realizing that Soko.
No, but you know, Patrick, that I've always been a girl child rights activist. I've always been.
Why haven't you thought of talking about this topic since we started the breakfast?
This topic,
why?
Honestly, I haven't really.
Can you respond?
On the show, I haven't.
Respond?
No, because I've always thought somehow, it's very hard to break the barrier.
She was waiting for...
So that
the barrier has been broken now.
Mr. Swirimba, it's very hard to break the barrier. He knows that. He was just talking about the issues of penetrating Chongwe. Equally myself, I've been accustomed, I've been raised in a manner that this is a private issue, Boys don't need to know when I'm experiencing such a situation, It's very private. So even talking about it, really, at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if I start talking about this thing, what are they going to think about? I'm not very comfortable to talk about it with men. But because literally for me, somehow, much as I am loud, I'm somehow closed up. I wouldn't talk about this thing with anybody, even my girls, fellow girls.
And Mr. Swirimba, do you know the common term she only talk about this issue?
Yeah.
Mothers.
Mother's Day.
That's it.
And but
and he actually wants to get fathers. He's not supportive.
Because I have to be sure that there's equality so that we discuss this issue collectively. When I say also demand for fathers, so that you see, that's how we bring harmony.
Demands for fathers,
and we are breaking the barriers.
Because I think for as much as as we talked about the main commitments Zambia Science to ensure that we promote girl child education, and one of the issues I always talk about, is we talk about reducing the cutoff point to ensure the girls perform better in class. I'm very much against this whole idea, because to tell you the truth, girls have got very good academic potential, or probably equal or even better to the boys.
Yes.
But by us saying let's reduce the cutoff point, we are running away from the big problem here. Let's address what's making the girl child fail to get better grades.
Yes.
And one of the issues is menstruation, because they miss school
because
of
they miss
period.
about.
So if we keep on saying let's reduce the cutoff point, let's not we are nursing the wound with so we have to address the main issue. Reducing the cutoff point, for me, I feel we are making them more vulnerable.
That's what your thought, Mr. Silwin, but let's
Someone
take this
wants to engage in the conversation.
Hello, good morning. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes,
Good morning, we can hear you.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Fine, and how are you?
I'm okay. Sharon and my young brother Patrick, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm all right.
Please
you can go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, please. This is Pastor Nkoma.
Yes, Pastor Nkoma.
Calling from Kabwe, Central Province.
Okay.
I've been trying your line because so far the point. I don't know whether are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't really know where to start from because a lot has been spoken. Let me start with the topic of today as Africa Freedom Day.
Yes.
We have got, let me say, we have got to give us right. Giving us for peace as we are today. But again, we looking at this peace in general. I don't know. I may not be able to define the difference between freedom and peace. But in our country, of course, we have to see by some department, let's say, anyway, my dream, hope I'm protected.
Yes, you are protected.
Yes. Is that the police? And they mean, I think in this department, freedom is demanded.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I do, you and I have to agree that, you know, what happened in the Zambia police, it's a service, but it is peace or freedom is very limited. Even the media also, we've been hearing stories where someone, maybe they try to contribute to the national matters, governance, you know, Zambia is a republic. We let that. So we are supposed to have freedom for expression. So the speech, anyway, in that department is mandatory. But we can't work in everything. Now, coming to the issue of the teacher, you know, art teachers.
Yes.
Yes, this is a very, very big thing. I don't know how the government is going to come on board. And also, we are also calling into organization. So, at least to point out, on my part, in the past, I'm taking the administration. The big issue now is sitting as health rights. For example,
Yes. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Yes, yes. I graduated in the year 2016.
Mm-hmm.
That math, I think let's do a bit mathematics. We still have time.
No, we don't, sir. Kindly just run through your comment and your contribution.
Yes, because, you know, I don't know, person mentioned today, we need, it is interesting to meet people who are affected with this pronunciation. Because production is a place. The government is now to put the safety services. But now, things are coming in to say, no, there is this condition which has just come in. It was not there in the
Mm-hmm.
that the wrong thing at the end of 45 may be excluded, may not even exist for this. You see? Now we are coming to the point where someone was born 1983, graduated in the year 2016. If you do mathematics, 1983, late 2016, someone graduated at the age of 33 years. Now, from 2016 up to date, it's about 6 years the person has been just waiting. Now, if you say 15 years, I think the year you graduated, plus 6 years of waiting, that comes to 39. Now, we don't know when exactly, because they're still waiting. Maybe they be there next year. Meaning, some of us can go there. Now, fourth, the NAFTA and the government state benefits also had another impact. One has to contribute 15 years. For that reason, now, look at such period. You see?
Yeah.
Right. I think your point
has been taken.
Yes, yeah. He actually commented on issues that when we started the program,
yes,
through and through, he managed to pick through the program. He was trying to get in touch with that. He says the line was pretty bad. So, in fact, as we go towards the 9 minutes of our program,
yes,
we're on menstrual hygiene. Just your concluding remarks, Mr. Swirimba there.
Okay, I think we are looking forward to see a Zambia where periods of menstruation will not be a barrier to anybody accessing quality education, or anybody attaining a sports environment, any social thing. It shouldn't be a hindrance in any way. And I'm looking forward to see a Zambia where people will talk about sanitary pads, menstruation without fear or favor of probably being embarrassed or anything. It should be something we should normalize, and it takes up, I think, our civic leaders, parliamentarians, to go flat out in their various areas, their constituencies, to enlighten people. And also, it should be an area which we should probably, as a nation, put in a lot of interest. And if it means us probably coming up with a better strategic plan to how we're going to sustain this whole distribution of sanitary pads in schools, it should be something we should deal with. It should not be a mere pronouncement. It should not be a once-off donation. It should not be a donation for political face value, to say, but it should be something which we are doing because we mean well for the citizens. And government should probably, I think it's something I would challenge them to bring all the stakeholders probably on board. I think there are lots of NGOs working with dealing with menstrual hygiene. So I think this would lighten the burden of government if these people are actually included in the whole project. So
like call for an indaba or something like that.
Or we try and put up ideas together. How best do we go about it? Because I think for now, I feel it's a bit of a solo idea concept where they're actually trying to move in, and I think they have little support, but there is a lot of support around them. So even as we move to Kabwe, we will be in Makululu. We thank our partners from Kabwe, Drivers of Change. They will be our implementing partners in Kabwe. So we are just supporting them and also doing capacity building. But Drivers of Change will be doing the implementation in the rural schools of Kabwe. So we hope that also the people in Kabwe can embrace the project, come on board the different communities, the business community, the religious communities, to come on board and give the Kabwe people the support they need, because I think it's not the easiest project to undertake. This is the hardest route to take because it faces a lot of cultural barriers. But I know that with the support of you, the media houses, and that's the government itself has been very supportive so far. So we are looking forward to see a better Zambia, and where my comrade here would publicly sit on a bus and say, no one is going to say, it will be
at Maloza.
In the next 20 years, this is what I would want to see. Where would this is saying, walk in the shop and find, sorry, you know, this should be something normal.
Because even buying it, literally, they have to put it either in a black plastic, in a newspaper, you know, like in
but people good. No,
you know, things like that. So Saturday is your day. What are we having? What do we expect on that particular day?
Yes, so because we are working with pupils. Sadly, we are doing our activities on Friday.
Okay.
Because we just don't want to risk pupils coming to school on a weekend. So we'll be doing our activity on Friday. That is why we're doing our launch prior to the day.
Okay.
The Central Province Mental Health School Support Initiative.
So it's on Friday that side?
On Friday in Kabwe. But in Lusaka, we are also doing a donation to NOSPA. It's an NGO in Lusaka. NOSPA, so we'll be handing over sanitary towels to NOSPA.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think I feel happy that we have Kabwe and Lusaka doing activities. Yes, and basically we don't have much on the actual day, so it's prior.
The day before.
On Friday, the day before.
Okay, yes. Brilliant stuff. We have come to a close of this very, very interesting interview. Obviously, we will continue the conversation on the other side, but you two out there can continue giving us those comments and contributions on our socials while you watch this very, very interesting. Kindly share this conversation so that people can get to know and understand that menstrual hygiene is not a taboo. Menstrual hygiene conversation is not a taboo. You can talk about it with your brothers, your sisters at home, and just your male folk. And we actually are calling on the boys out there, the males out there, to be indoctrinated into having these conversations. Make them normal, make us comfortable, and sometimes buy us these items.
Interesting. As usual, ours is a platform to inform, educate, and entertain, and we are just doing that during the breakfast. Unfortunately, this is the time we always have to excuse the screen. And Patrick Soko, on behalf of my colleague Sharon Kalimbula, until we come tomorrow with another episode of the Camnet Breakfast on governance and policy. Stay tuned and keep it on Camnet.